is Pooneh from Yoga by Pooneh. I wanted to share my story about how I started my yoga journey. So just to tell you a little bit more about my background, I'm from Iran originally, and I lived in Iran most of my life till I was about 15 years old. So in my early childhood, there was a war and revolution going on in my country, and I went through the experience of, just living the war day by day. I found myself feeling withdrawn. I found myself not really understanding or wanting to understand, why things happened the way they happened, about why the war happened or the revolution. I mean, I spent a lifetime trying to figure that out. I think, thank God, I've now figured that out. But the yoga journey is where I started when I was living in, as I said, in Bali and Singapore. We spent a lot of time talking about the traditions of yoga, and we spent hours talking about pranayama, the art of controlling your breath. We talked about the asanas. We talked about the traditions of yoga. I began learning about what a yoga life meant, the principles of yoga. Anything about the Yoga Sutras, and so that journey kind of began there. Then I ended up going to Bali a lot, which is one of my favorite places in the world. I kind of fell in love with that place, and I did a lot of training in Bali. I found myself so many times kind of coming out of class and wondering, thinking about, what I felt, what I went through. There was times I would just be in class and I'd just be sobbing. I would just couldn't stop crying, and I had to walk out. So all this emotion that I had suppressed again from my early childhood, it was coming up, and I needed a way to deal with it. So through meditation and through yoga, practice of yoga, which I really believe it's the union of mind, body, and spirit, I began to heal. And it's such an important part of my life, and it helped me begin healing emotionally, to get over my fears and allow myself to open up. And after years of practice, again, I took lessons, and I practiced, and I did some training courses all over the world. And one of the best things I think from my practice is I've come across and I've taught in a lot of different places, and just the interaction between the students and yourself and the local experience in every single country has taught me a lot, because we don't experience the same emotions when we're talking about feelings or expression of the feelings, or getting in touch with yourself. And I've learned a lot from my students, let's just say. And all of this kind of continued, and then from a physical perspective, I was always very active, and I have a classical ballet training, and I came to US, and in the 80s and 90s I did aerobics. So I was an aerobic instructor, which today I'm suffering for it because of the injured my ankles and knees and all of that. And so did all this stuff, started some surfing. I mean, right now we're in Montauk, which is one of my favorite places in the world, with the backdrop of the lighthouse, which we can all hear. So I started surfing out here, and then I continued my surfing experience in Bali, and then one time I ended up going to Rio. Well, I went to Rio lots of times. That's where I kind of manufacture part of my line, which is called Yoga Living, by the way. So Yoga by Pooneh is part of that entire umbrella of Yoga Living, because it's about a lifestyle, about healthy eating, healthy experiences, and yoga is part of that. So I ended up being in Rio, and I had just literally landed, and I was jet lagged, and ended up going to surfing, and that wasn't the smartest idea. I went by myself and ended up getting caught up in a triple, and I almost died. And a couple guys in Rio, around Ipanema, around where the rocks are, if anybody's from Rio, they'll know exactly what I'm talking about. So my board broke, and I almost died. They pulled me out and had lost consciousness. So then they flew me back here, and I had dislocated shoulders, broken everything, knees, ankles, so many injuries. And it took me a good year to be able to even walk, honestly. I had braces from here to here, but the journey of healing, again, physically, I used my yoga practice, because it was so challenging for me to feel so trapped that I couldn't do anything, and just allow my body to heal And so I took my experiences from what I had gone through and began training myself, emotionally and physically. And it was after that experience that I decided to do my teacher training. And I got certified, and I am a certified RYT 200, and I also have my RCYT, so I teach children, I teach adults. I studied Iyengar style, which I really, really love, and I've been teaching and practicing, for very, very long time. I'd say that today, yoga is probably, besides my faith, is the thing that really drives me, I'd say, my life and who I am and who I want to be, and it centers me. There's times where I go back to those days, when I was a little kid in Iran, or the emotions and hearing a thunder, going through experience, and just the practice, it helps me connect with myself. So what I decided to do because of that is the mission for my practice is to give back. So I really do this because I want to give back to the people, give back to the community, and so therefore I've offered like refugees, wounded warriors, veterans. I always offer free lessons. So anybody that belongs to these categories, they can come to class for free, and I've offered to host sessions for these guys and go to refugee camps, and that's for me is part of, I know it's helped me heal, and I want them to feel what I feel, which is feeling balanced, feeling loved in my own space, feeling peaceful. So I hope I can share that experience with all of you, and whether you've been a student of mine, so thank you, and if you're going to be a future student, I would love to have you, because this is my passion, and I'm grateful for what I get to do every day, which is what I love.